Well, today we're working on this International. He bought it for basically the motor and transmission, but somebody wants to buy it. Even though the cab has some rust and the frame has some rust, they still want it. But they want the frame shortened up. 84 cab to axle measurement.
They're gonna move the frame or the axle forward, so they're going to put a 10.5-foot dump bed on it. So we got to take the front leaf spring hanger, the bump stop, the brake line mounts, the rear leaf spring hanger, take them all loose, move them forward. I paint around these white or whatever color I've got, so that when I'm doing my move and my measurements and stuff, I don't get confused with all the extra bolt holes where they belong and what was where. Makes it a little easier to keep straight. Right now, I'm pulling all the wiring through because the bolts that are holding these on are horrible condition. We're just going to torch them. We're going to get new bolts. We started trying to take them loose, but look at that. See how bad a shape them bolts are in. So we're just going to torch them, order up new. Hopefully, this won't take too god awful long. Thankfully, I've already got the box off, got the lift gate off, so tearing this stuff out shouldn't take that long. We're going to shorten up the brake lines. I have to order a new parking brake cable because the parking brake is right here on the differential. And the cable, you see it runs up right there. See it right there? Mm-hmm. And over here is the adjustment right there. And you can see it. It's about ready to blow apart. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. And there you can kind of see it. So it splices up there. So we got to order a new one for 84 cab to axle. So let's get all this wiring pulled out of here.
Well, we got this side of all the bolts torched off because they're too rusty to try to get off otherwise. Got, I don't know, probably 5 more on this side, and then we'll have those done.
So much rust.
Yeah.
I got the bump stop and the front leaf spring hanger, and then this side's loose. I had to heat up the bolts for the U-joint straps too. They were in there with thread lockers. That wind is something today.
Yeah.
This is one day you don't mind the torch. It's cold today.
Yeah. Well, it's sunny and 50 today. Do you want me to put the impact on that one? Okay.
Alright, so you can see what ends up happening. It leaves a ring here around these. I got everything torched out. I just got back from town. Went and got all new bolts, all new hardware. So everything will be new. Next I need to get the brake lines disconnected here and here. And I'm going to pull them out of the cross members and get them out of our way. I'll probably just go ahead and take them loose up here and just plug those. And then I'll put a plug in them, and then I'll put something over it, so if it rains we don't get any water in there, because if you lay a plug in there, water can still get around the plug probably and get in there. So that's where we're at next. Well, I went through all my plugs. I didn't have one that fit real well, so I took this line loose from the other side and I just looped it right back in and tightened it up. So that'll stop us from losing all of our fluid and having to bleed out everything. We'll just make sure we don't hit the brakes, because we don't want to put fluid on the back side of the one side that should not have. It should be pushing through, not pushing back. So we'll just be careful not to do that. And then I'll take this, just kind of push it up here out of the way. Probably take a bungee cord or something and make it stick to the back up this way out of our way. And now we can start laying out. Okay, so what we did was I got everything disconnected back here. Alright, like I said before, I spray paint around so I know which holes we're using and what they're for. And the next thing we do is measure out so far where we're going to move to. I figure out this was I believe it was 163 cab to axle as it was. We want 84. Did the math, I think it was 79 inches. So we took 79 inches, measured basically from the center of each bolt hole forward 79 inches, and I put tape. The reason for the tape is it's black tape or black paint. Tape that's so much easier to see than trying to see a mark on here. These are easier to find to drill. So after we get that all laid out, then we make what we call a story pole. Alright, this is nothing but a piece of 3/4 EMT like an electrician would use. I take the one end, I smash it, put a nut on there, tighten it up good. Alright, and then we take that end, we stick it in a hole. This is one of the actual bolts from the suspension. We stick it in that hole, and we come out this way 79 inches and drill a hole and stick a pencil through. And then we just do this. So then I move this up one hole, move it up to the next hole right there, and then I make my mark on this one. So then every time I move forward, if I go to the next one, look here, if I go from this one to this one to this one to this one, I'm getting the same exact measurement every single time, instead of using a tape measure and being close or getting off because you didn't look at it quite right. Alright, so that we get the same exact measurement. And I always go from the existing holes forward, not the back of the cab back. That way we're as accurate as it can be. Alright, then next what we do is that same thing of accurate. I take a tape measure, put painter's tape over the tape measure. I go over my existing holes. I took this on the top and I bend it down like this, so it'll be kind of like this. And I hook this up on the lip of the frame, and then I mark everywhere we need to be. So you can see here I have it marked front, 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 and then I also have the bump stop. I do the same thing here. It says bump and bump, and I do the same thing on the rear mounts because they're all different lengths. This way, when I go to hook this up, I do it on the front. We can get the same exact marks. Sorry, I'm on the wrong side. Every time where it says rear. And then the same thing on the bump stop. You can get your marks exactly perfect every single time quickly. And then a little bit of checking after we've marked it all out. And this has taken 20 minutes?
Probably.
20 minutes to lay out, and now we're ready to drill holes. So if we've done everything correctly, then we should be spot on for all of our holes. Whether you do it this way or you measure it a different way, whatever, this is just how we do it. There may be guys that have a better way than that, but this has always worked very well because we always end up with the same exact measurement. So now we're ready to get the mag drill out, lower this frame down a little bit, and start drilling holes. We've got 32 holes to drill. It's one. What'd that take?
I don't know.
Pretty long.
Couple minutes.
It's important to clean the bottom of that off, so when you put it on, it's not sitting cattywampus. I'd say the hardest part about this is getting the drill set up just right, because it's not like, you know, sitting on top. See, I'm off like a 32nd. I need to come back this way a bit, and it's not easy to adjust that way. You can turn the magnet down, but it's like it lets go all at once. I'm still, yep, it's right there, right there. Okay, turn the magnet on all the way.
Sure is quicker than the one time you did it.
Yeah. One time I did it, I used, yeah, look at that. That's impressive. One time I did this, I used my little 1/4 inch or little small 3/8 Bosch drill, and I drilled a pilot hole for every one of them. And then I, with a 1/4 inch, then I came back with 5/16, then 3/8, then 1/2 inch, and then finally a 5/8. So I don't remember how many holes I drilled that day. Do you remember? I told you like 160 or something.
I thought it was that or 180 or something.
Something like that.
It was a lot.
It's too many. That's what
Yeah.
it was. But
Gotta do what you gotta do.
mm-hmm. Lining this up's the hardest part, I think. And then they give you a strap to go around this to hold it, but when I turn it on, I just push against it with my belly. I mean, think about that. That's huge time saver.
Yeah.
Now, if this frame was rusty, I would definitely use a strap. It's meant to go around here so it doesn't move. But this frame's pretty good where I'm hooking up to. So, well, there's the first 3 done. So, we'll get on with the rest of them. So this is what I do before I really start hogging at it. I'll take the drill bit, turn it on just for a second, and make sure I'm hitting my cross lines on each place, each side. So I'll make sure we're dead on, because that's one thing about this. There is a little slop in this thing. If you can watch this. I mean, that's to be expected. And we're drilling a 5/8 hole for a 5/8 bolt because we don't want it to be any bigger than it has to be. So we may have to clean up the holes a little bit. We'll see. Hopefully we're okay. Alright, all of our holes are drilled now. They're all ready to go. I went ahead and put the bump stop in because once the tires are in place, it's a little bit tougher to get to the bolts. Here's the back ones. So now what we're going to do is hook a chain to the gradle, to the frame, roll the truck back, and get it ready to go on here. We'll go ahead and tilt the axle. We'll put a jack stand underneath the pinion so it holds it where it needs to go. So we'll do that, and then we'll pull this thing back. I'm not sure where I left off, but I think we were lowering this down. But we've got all the brackets in. Everything's bolted back up. Take that out, we don't need that. I've got the wiring all kind of zip tied up so it's not going to move. You see I used, it's a locking flange nut on all these, so we know it's good, you know, good equipment, good hardware. Shouldn't be a problem. So where I'm at now is I've just got the parking brake cables mounted. So now I need to do those, and then I need to measure from the tailstock of a transmission up underneath there to the flat differential. Get that measurement, and there's my drive shaft over there. Take that in, get it shortened. So right now we're going to work on doing the brake lines. I'm gonna take these loose, fish them down through here, cut them where they need to be cut, reflare it, and put it back together. So hopefully I can crack the bleeders open. It's got new hoses on it, and someone's replaced them calipers recently, and if you'll be able to tell, but the thing's got brand new rotors on it too. So that's a nice bonus. But look how much nicer the frame is up here versus the farther you get back. But you can see how much we're going to be cutting off here. Alright, we're all done. Brake lines are cut, reflared, all bled out. We got our measurement for the drive shaft, so we're going to have to wait for that. And I've marked out where we're going to cut the frame. This right here is going to make it 11 foot from the back of the cab to the end of the frame. The guy that wants this said he might want 10'6", but he wasn't exactly certain. He acted like he was certain, but I wasn't confident that that was the number. So we're going to do it 11 foot. So if he's got to cut 6 inches off to make it the way he wants it, it's a lot easier to cut 6 inches off than it is to try and add it. So that's what we're going to do. We're cutting off 92 inches of frame it ends up being. Looks a little goofy like that, doesn't it? It looks a little goofy, to say the least. Let's see if we can get this right for you. Gotta get way back here. Yeah, it looks a little goofy. We'll cut that off right about there. But as soon as we get the drive shaft back, we're done. That's what I do the drive shaft so I don't forget. Put the measurement on there. That way there's no confusion as to what I needed. So that's it. I'll bring you back once we get the drive shaft and the parking brake cable.